Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So we are starting our summary and analysis of an inspector calls. I believe you are happy, right? Okay. In summary, we will not dwell so much on this as we did on Once Upon an Elephant. I will just touch the surface, and I want to believe that you can go and read up the rest on your own. Okay, let's begin. Before we begin, I need to tell you like the background of this play. So before World War I, there's a case of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. We have people that owns industries, and they are also manufacturers. We see them, blooming, their business blooming, and at the expense of the lower status. So those are the lower status. They do not have anything. So Priestley is just an advocate for equality. Let everybody have something to eat. Let everybody have something to do. Not a case of some people, dominating the working experience or the working part of society, while some people are striving to make ends meet. And that is the genesis of the revolution that gave birth to an inspector calls. So it's a very beautiful story. So let's just start. Let me not let the cat out of the bag yet. Okay, the play and inspector calls begin in a rich and comfortable dining room. The Berlin family are gathered together, happily celebrating the engagement of their daughter, Sheila, to Gerald Croft. The atmosphere is warm and cheerful, filled with laughter and excitement. Okay, and like I said, I said that the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, right? So we have the Croft family who are also manufacturers. Okay, so they too they have their company, and the irony of it is that both of them, the Gerald and the Berlins, the Croft and the Berlins, they are like academy, or like competitors. Just like you have like Indomie, right? And then we have other people, other like Mimi and the rest also, doing the same thing, right? So we have these two, Gerald and Croft, the Berlins and the Croft. We have them being manufacturers and competitors, and they decided that, oh well, let's seal our friendship and let's just put an end to this, they can be like you see amalgamation now, so they can be like, a synergy between your company and my company, and it can keep booming. Do you understand? So because of that, because of their selfish interest, they decide to come together to in marriage. Mr. Berlin, who is proud and confident, gives a speech about success and the future. He tells the young couple not to worry about the negative things people are saying. Okay, because of course they know that you are exploiting with your business. You're exploiting people. Your workers are not being treated right and everything. And so we see Berlin, Mr. Berlin here. He's like, you know what? People should not worry about what you are hearing outside. Though, don't worry, it's bound to happen. People are bound to talk. Blah blah blah, especially about the possibility of a war. And I told you earlier that before World War I, right? So he confidently calls such ideas nonsense, showing how sure he is that everything will be fine. Suddenly, their happy evening is interrupted by the arrival of a police inspector named Inspector Gould. His presence immediately changes the mood of the room. He explained that he is investigating the tragic death of a young woman called Eva Smith, who died after drinking disinfectant. I know we all story of hypo and everything, right? So now their sweet evening had been interrupted. Meanwhile, during the engagement and blah blah blah, the excitement of the engagement and everything, Sheila had already asked Gerald where he was, because they lost touch or connection for some months while Gerald was away. He asked him where he was, and Gerald, gave a lie about, oh, he was very busy with work. That was why he could say, you are very busy with work. I'm supposed to be your girlfriend. You are very busy with work, and you could not even, communicate with me as you ought to during that time. Okay. Now, of course, she actually didn't like take it in hook, line, and sinker, but then she didn't have any choice. She had to make do with the excuse that Gerald had given. Now we would find out where he actually went from our Inspector Gold. So Inspector Gold had already come. So apparently there has been a death. So Mr. Belenson realizes that Eva once worked at his factory. He admits that he fired her because she was part of a group of workers asking for higher wages. Although he sees nothing wrong with his actions, it became clear that his decision played a role in a difficult life. So we're starting with Mr. Berlin. So the inspector showed Mr. Berlin. In fact, at first, Mr. Berlin rejected her, refused her. Oh no, 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 like he doesn't know her. And then his inspector showed him Eva's picture and said, oh, okay, 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 that she was working in his factory and he had to sack her because she was like the ringleader of those that were advocating for change. And this girl and others were basically advocating for an increment in their salary from 22,050 shillings, let's say 22,000, from 22 pounds 50 shillings to 25. Like it's not just like 20, just like 2 shillings and 2 is let me just tell you that it is very ridiculous, right? The increment that they were fighting for is not something that Berlin could not do, but he couldn't withstand the fact that someone will spearhead that and now turn his factory to, cause unrest in his factory because of that. So instead of him to say to realize the fact that, oh, for these people to actually cause this, unrest and union about increment, that means that I should do more. Because if you don't have this kind of people, everybody cannot be rich. That's just the irony of life. Everybody can be rich. You still have some people that will work for you, that for you to be rich. So the good thing is for you to compensate meaningfully, which he was not willing to do. And that's why I said earlier that is a case of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. So we see these ones working, tooth and nail and not having anything to show for it. So Eva Smith, and because of that, he laid her off from work, and that was the genesis of the revelation of Eva Smith's death. Now, Sheila is deeply shocked and upset by the news. When the inspector continues the story, he reveals that Eva later worked in a shop called Millwoods, but lost her job after a complaint from a customer. When Sheila is shown a photograph of the girl, she becomes overwhelmed with guilt. She admits that she was the customer who complained. Out of jealousy and anger, she used her power to get Eva Smith dismissed, simply because she felt threatened by her beauty. See, when they say that power is intoxicating, please come and pick these people. Come and pick this family. Because it's not even in, it's not even, because it's everywhere. Even in Nigeria, it is everywhere. Right? So, now, after Eva Smith was sent away by the father, right? Unknowingly for her, the daughter also came to a shop where she was managing to be the sales rep, right? And because she feels that because Eva Smith was smiling to another customer, she felt offended. She felt offended and she used her power. Like, okay, I want her out of here. For the reason Eva Smith was sent out of that job, was sent away from that job, is too minute. She smiled at a customer. She didn't smile at you, she smiled at a customer. So you felt that she should give you the attention she didn't give you, and you used your power to make sure that she doesn't work there anymore because you are rich, because you are from a rich background, and because you can do anything that you want. So that's from the father now to the daughter. The father sent her away from a source of livelihood. She got another source of livelihood. The daughter sent her away. Alright, we continue. The inspector then explains that the girl changed her name to Daisy Renton. This caused Gerald to react nervously. When he is alone with Sheila, the truth comes out. Gerald had a secret relationship with Daisy the previous summer. He admits that he helped her by giving her a place to stay, but the relationship eventually ended. Hot and disappointed, Sheila returns her engagement ring, showing that their relationship is no longer the same. One thing that Sheila did that the father did not do was she was very, very sober. She felt very, very bad about her behavior. The father didn't give a hoot. That's Eva Smith is just one out of every other person, so he doesn't care. Sheila, on the other hand, felt very, very bad. And amidst all of this, now, the inspector mentioned that, oh, her name was not, that she had to change her name, probably because she needed to get a job, or she needed to just change her identity. So she changed her name to Jason, from Eva Smith to Jason. And that's where Gerald remembered that he also had something to do with this girl. Now, when she was sent away from her workplace, she went to a bar, and from there she saw Gerald. Gerald saw her, and realized that she doesn't have a place to stay. Gerald, with his influence, because he's rich, said, oh, that he has a friend that is out of the country for now, and that Eva Smith can stay at his friend's place, okay, pending the time. And of course, you know that nothing goes for nothing. So whilst Eva Smith was grateful that Gerald gave her a place to stay, they had a relationship, and Gerald took advantage of her, right? But of course, in the long run, they had to break off the relationship. So now it's a case of you cannot even help someone without having to get something in return. Even though you are in an obvious relationship with Shayla, you still didn't mind having a side chick, or should I say a side hen, okay? Just because you are in a position to help her. So when the truth came out, because he had to confess. When the truth came out, Sheila was very disappointed. Like, oh, okay, the same place that you told me that you didn't have my time. So it's done by time that you don't have. You were using that time to be frolicking with Eva Smith, and she gave back an engagement ring, his engagement ring. Next, we have Mrs. Berlin. Okay, at first she refused to accept it, because the thing about it is that Inspector was showing them the picture, individually. They all didn't see the picture, at once, right? So it got to, and so Inspector said that he was going to like question the characters like one after another, right? So now from each of these characters, we get to see their involvement in this same girl. We've seen Mr. Berlin, we've seen Sheila, we've seen Gerald, right? So now it's time for Mrs. Berlin. And so Mrs. Berlin at first, refused. Oh, no, I don't, no, I've not done anything wrong. There's this and this. So later, she now admitted that yes, that she remembers her, that because she was like the head of the charity organization. These rich people now, they want to feel as if they are giving back to society, right? So like she's the head of the organization that gives like welfare, food packages and everything, right? So she said she eventually had admitted that she had denied the girl help from a charity she was involved in. And so this girl asked, the girl was pregnant already, but we didn't know, of course, we didn't know who the pregnancy was, whose pregnancy it was, right? Okay, so the girl you came to the charity donation and asked for help, and this woman refused. Like, where is the father of your unborn child? Why is it that the father of your unborn child did not accept responsibility? And then she said, okay, like the father of our unborn child wanted to pay her off, and she refused. And I was like, that is right, like why will you be poor and still be proud and everything? And because of that, she denied her of getting any welfare package. And that was just like, it was just too much for her to handle. No, so I've already talked about the fact that Eva Smith was pregnant, okay, when she went for the Disney. So that just broke her. Her inability to get support, just broke her, right? Because apparently she was the money she refused was for her to terminate the pregnancy, which she refused, right? And she just wanted to hold on to something. Like, if I can have something to eat, then I can like survive till I to like give birth to this, right? So now the inspector now reveals that Eva was pregnant when she died, and Mrs. Berlin, still unwilling to take responsibility, blames the father of the child and says it's entirely as well. Like, it's not my fault. It's not me that put her in the family way. So why should it be that I'm the one that should be taking responsibility for her death? Okay, not knowing that the father of the unborn child is within her household, right? So at this moment, Eric is Sheila's brother, returns home. He's clearly troubled and emotional. He confessed that he was the father of Eva's baby. So apparently, um, the mother didn't know that her son, had put someone in the family way. Okay, so when Eric found out that Eva Smith was pregnant, he decided to, get money, steal it though. He took it, from his father's this thing, and decided to pay her off. Like, you know what, get rid of it. I can't marry, because the truth about us is that they can't, and that's why Gerald too can chop and claim out. They cannot. You cannot see in that era, yeah. You cannot see the rich bringing down the family will not even agree. So they were just using Eva Smith for sport, because they know that they can never bring themselves low to getting married to her. Okay, so he admits that he stolen the money from his father's office supporter, but she refused to accept it when she found out that it was stolen. So there's something about Eva Smith. The fact that I don't have money does not mean that I don't have integrity. Okay, so for you stealing money, means that you cannot. It's clear already that you cannot even introduce me to your parents, and that's why you have to steal the money to keep my mouth shut, to buy me off. So by now, it is clear that each member of the Berlin family has played a part in Eva Smith's suffering. The inspectors' questioning make them face the consequences of their action. Some, like Sheila and Eric, feel deep guilt and begin to understand the importance of taking responsibility. Others, like Mr. and Mrs. Berlin, are more concerned about their reputation than avoiding scandal, because Mr. Berlin was already, thinking about how he's going to become hold a particular title. Now, what's that title again? Mayor. I think mayor. He wanted to hold a particular title, and he was so looking forward to it. He has the connection and all, and he just wants a scandal-free, time period, so that when they are checking his record and everything, they'll see that okay, he's scandal-free, and they can give him that position. So it was once a mayor, yes, it was once a mayor, but he's now trying to hold another. Now I've forgotten, really. Go and find out. I've forgotten. But he's trying to hold a particular position, okay, in the society, and he does not need this kind of scandal. Alright? And so he doesn't even, even though his children, are remorseful that, oh my god, so it is because of me that this particular person died. So I also contributed to this person's death. The parents, they were like, no now. Ah, please, so whatever it is, it mustn't go out, okay, because I'm not the one responsible. I did what I have to do, right? So now, after the inspector leaves, Gerald returns with surprising news. So now the inspector left, and everybody, everybody is in a pensive mode, blah blah blah. So and in the space of the interrogation, Gerald had gone after he was being interrogated. After he had been interrogated, he left after Sheila, broke off the engagement. He left. So he came back later and told that wait, oh, I just found out now that I made my findings, and I realized that this inspector is not real, and that so far there is no record of any death of any Eva Smith so far. So that means that inspector had come to them, had drilled them, and they've all confessed to murder. Okay, even though the murder had not happened yet, and they were so happy that, oh, at last, thank God. So if it's not real, thank God. Well, now there's no scandal after all. Now Sheila and Eric, they're not comforted, right? They realize that real or not, the inspector message is so important that they all have behaved selfishly and must change, because that inspector is like Priestley, the writer, the playwright. Is like Priestley advocating for you. See, the fact that God has blessed you and you are up there does not mean that you have to look down on the people down here. Ah, empathy, show love, show care. It goes a long way, a long way. Imagine Sheila had not done what she did, had not used her power. Imagine Eric had not taken undue advantage of her and abandoned her when she refused the money. Imagine that Gerald did not take her. You use your money, you don't use your status to oppress people. And we see this girl, even though she's poor, we see her still having a good moral standard. A good moral standard. So they're like, well, even though it is real or not, I feel bad for what I have done, to this girl. And just when the family begins to relax, the telephone rings. Mr. Berlin answers it and receives a shocking news. A young woman had just died after drinking disinfectant, and a real police inspector is on the way to question them. So the question now is, who was Inspector Goal? So as at the time of the questioning, the girl had not died. As at the time of the questioning, the girl had not died. Now, Inspector Go had gotten the truth out of all of them. It will be very, very hard for them to look the next inspector in the eye and lie, because they know that they have confessed the truth to someone already. Now, the person who Inspector Go was now, they don't know, but a real inspector is coming to interrogate them concerning the death, or whatever they know about the death of Eva Smith. So you can see that this story. So the family is left frozen in fear and guilt as the curtain slowly falls, leaving the audience with powerful message about responsibility, consequences, and how our actions can affect others. See, it doesn't take anything to be kind. Honestly speaking, it doesn't take anything to be kind. And so we have now the same reputation they were trying to uphold. Everything now is down the drain, right? It's down the drain because now you have scandal. Now, because you cannot just add £2 and 50 shillings, you had to send some. So now the story will be out. There is no way. In fact, even if the parents want to lie to this inspector, the children are already guilty. In fact, they feel very, very, they are taking full responsibility that they have shown act of irresponsibility towards this girl. So they would not in any way allow, because you see that Sheila, hey God, I beg, Sheila was always, in fact, antagonizing the father, antagonizing the mother, calling them out, asking them why they're not even showing any form of any sign of remorse. So even if they want to lie, they can't, because Sheila will rat them out. Look, we're going to take responsibility. We did wrong, we did wrong. So let's accept it with our full chest, and accept the consequences that comes from it too. So that's basically what this play is all about. Equality. Either you are rich or you are poor. Hey, no matter how, in your little way, no matter, see, all of them, they act their own little way of changing the society, affecting life. But they did not. They neglect their responsibility because they are not on the other side where the shoe is pinning the other person. They are not there. So this is the summary of an inspector course. I hope you understand. Alright, so basically we just move straight to the character analysis and the theme, and then we move to African poem. Right. So that can be your next lesson. Bye. And please learn to take responsibility. Help in any little way you can. It might mean a whole lot to that person. No matter how simple, how inconsequential you feel that act of kindness is, do it anyways. It will mean a whole lot to another person. A whole lot to another person. And learn to take responsibility for your action. Alright, till I come your way again. Next lesson. Bye.